Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 12th show of the current season, the season 2 of the Diversey BW Hotelier, the GM show series. We're here with our 4th show in Bangalore. Today, Friday, the 18th of August. I have some great stars, some great leaders from the Indian hospitality industry. And the topic of the show today is extremely interesting. It's about people, it's about talent, it's about the job market. With the spectacular hospitality bounce back, the industry job market is red hot, so are the jobs. Is the pipeline good and ready to fill in the demand? Now, before I really go into the show, let me bring in the Diversey video up partners for the series. Thank you, Diversey. Your story began us over a century ago in Chicago. You've since then expanded to over 100 countries and 80 of them physically. And you've created innovative cleaning solutions, products that meet the needs of various industry sectors, including hospitality. Thank you, Diversey. We do the show virtually because it helps us reach all general managers across the country without having to pull them out physically. And we discuss some very important topics and issues, both current and futuristic, and very relevant. Like I've always maintained and told everybody, the show format is regional, where we cover the North, West, South, and East. Next week, we are in the East, we are in Kolkata. And then we head to the Northeast and Central before we come back to the Northwest and South. With 2 shows a week, every Thursday and Friday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. May I request you all to block your schedule, your calendar, and watch out the show because this is online on bwhotelier.com and across our social media platforms. Be there, follow us, encourage us to bring to you more such gems. And let me tell you, we are not stopping at this. We are going far ahead of the GM series. At BW Hotelier, like I've always maintained, the sun never sets. We do what the others least expect us to do. But what we do is relevant, very classy, and very meaningful. For those of you who missed watching the show, don't worry, don't stress. The recordings are available on bwhotelier.com and our social media platforms. Permit me now to bring to the show the stars on the show. First in is my dear friend who's just moved into Bangalore from Kolkata, Sandeep Johri. Sandeep Johri is the area manager for the Southern, is the general manager Novotel and Ibis Bengaluru, Outer Ring Road. Welcome to the show, Sandeep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next in is my good friend on the Outer Ring Road in Bangalore, Manish Garg. He's the general manager for the Hilton and the Hilton Garden Inn, which is in the Embassy Manyata Tech Park. Amazing assets, very visible from the main road, and they shine. Welcome to the show, Manish.
Thank you.
Next in is the boy from the end of MG Road. Comes in from Moga, Varun Mohan. He's the general manager of the Hyatt Centric MG Road in Bangalore. Welcome to the show, Varun.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Pleasure's ours. Next in is Virender Razdan, Chandigarh boy in Bangalore. He's the general manager of the Leela Bhartiya city. Welcome to the show, Virender.
Thank you. My honor to be here.
Pleasure. Last but not the least, Sachin Maheshwary. Sachin Maheshwary is the general manager for the Grand Mercure at the Gopalan Mall in Bangalore. Welcome to the show, Sachin.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you. Such a pleasure, sir. Thank you all for being here, for gracing our show. Before I roll out with the first question, I shall take a small break and pay our regards and commiserations to Vincent Lobo. As the show begins, Vincent is being laid to rest. Adios, Vincent. Rest in peace, my brother. You've given us a lot. You've given us joy. Rest well in heaven. You've left us with gorgeous memories to last all our lives. Thank you for all the time and the joy that you brought to us all, Vincent. We shall miss you, but the heavens are richer today. God bless you, brother. See you, Vincent, on the other side someday. All right, the show must go on. Let's move on. Let's begin with the first question to you, Sandeep. May I, if you? All right. All right, Sandeep. Higher ARRs and 100 occupancy is every general manager's dream, right? You'll give your right arm for it. But is it good, as it will push away a few to cheaper options like homestays, unbranded products, or perhaps even skip a destination? Remember, you have to answer this within the context of people. How do you manage it?
Bhuvi, first of all, since I'm the first speaker, thank you so much for organizing this. It is such a pleasure to be on your platform. I've been here before and I'd missed it for a couple of years. But I'm glad that you started this again. And a lot of general managers that we see here, we have not physically met in the same city, staying in the same city. Manish and Virender, we have not met actually in the same city. So thank you for this opportunity and creating this platform. So I thought I'll start with acknowledging that.
Nice of you.
All right. So on your question, of course, high ADRs and 100% is every GM's dream. But I mean, all of us also know that 100% is not 100% every day. So we do 100%. Some of the days you have valleys. I will come to the context of manpower that we spoke about a little bit after we speak business, because you speak about shifting business. Possibly it could be true when we talk about leisure destinations. For a business city like Bangalore, I don't think that is an option of shifting business because of ADR. I mean, I do not think that hotels command that position today, wherein the setups or the startups would say that no, this city has expensive hotels and let's not put up shop there. So we I don't think will be affected or are affected by that. Having said that, it creates a lot of expectations when we talk about 100% occupancy, when we talk about higher ADR. Say, for example, when we talk about higher ADR, it comes with a lot of increased guest expectations on the delivery of product and services. When you talk about 100% occupancy or back-to-back occupancy, at least 3 or 4 days in the week that the city sees, it is a huge task on the service and product delivery. And that leads us to the question of manpower. How skilled are we to handle that? How skilled are we to meet that expectation that higher ADRs bring on the table? And that is the most serious question. And I'm glad that you're having an entire discussion of an hour on this, which I think it's no brainer that industry today is facing this challenge all over. And this it is also survival of the fittest. It is about how quickly are you changing your gears and making sure that one from sourcing point of view is one thing, and you cannot just look at the IHMs for recruitment anymore, be it the government aided or be it the private ones. That's not going to be enough. We have to look at other avenues and options, and we cannot be surrendering. It's very easy for us to say, Bhuvi, that we are losing people to airlines entertainment. And but I think that there has to be a reverse brain drain also. There is a huge opportunity for us to get people from that sector or get them back. It all depends on how conscious are we to this, how serious are we to this reality that manpower is a challenge not only to recruit, we have to be an attractive recruitment center. So your work-life balance, extremely important. Your weeks of, I mean, today, even if you do not do the roster in advance so that the people can plan their offs, that becomes a deterrent for people to come and work with you. And I mean, before I close, I also would want to say that, we have been talking about, hoteliers. Word of mouth is the best way of getting guests.
Absolutely.
But I think word of mouth is also the best way of getting people. And that is something that we have to focus on. A guy who leaves, the exit that happens when he's going out and somebody is referring somebody and says that, is this a good place to work? I have got a job offer. The response to that should be, wow, man, you got an offer there. You should take it because that is one place to work. They take care of the employees. They have a career pathing. They impart all the necessary things that you need to train people. So that you have to be an attractive, not only to a guest, but you have to be an attractive hotel or a destination for employees to work and build a career with you. So I think it is a challenge which is existing. We are better off than we were earlier. So I think a lot of us are learning and changing gears and doing the necessary things to retain and safeguard talent. And better times to come. I mean, hotel industry is rocking. We are getting our due after a couple of bad years due to COVID, and good times to come, not only for the coffers and the bank balance, but also for all the aspirants of working in this industry. I hope I get that.
You did, but let me tell you about the bad times. I don't even remember them. I mean, that's bygone era. Where we are today is brilliant. Touch wood wherever wood is. Who would have thought we'd come back the way we have, and thank God for it. We're in a fairly good zone now. So now is the time to build and build to last. Yeah. So thanks, Sandeep, for your inputs. Manish, if I may come to you. Taking on from my observation here, walk back 2 years and tell me hand on heart, weren't you worried about the industry? And now seeing the hockey stick effect, the recovery, what are your views? And now we need people, right? We lost a few of them. Few of them moved back to their hometowns. They moved out of the industry. But now with the growth, with the robust growth, and writing the India story, we have a great opportunity.
Thank you, Bhuvi. Yes, 2 years back, when I read this question, 2 years back, I was sitting in this complex, just joined this complex to open this 619 key hotel. And I was in the pre-opening stage at that stage. Was I nervous? Well, we are just coming out of COVID. We are going to open this complex. Yes, there were some apprehensions, but time has proved that my apprehensions were incorrect. We had our challenges about sourcing, opening this complex, making sure that we are sourcing the material in time, and sourcing the right manpower. But some things worked for us at that stage. And I also believe that COVID gave us an opportunity to try new things. Close to 20% of this hotel's manpower is ladies. 45% of this hotel's leadership team is ladies. A lot of ladies came back, returned to work because of COVID. So that was a history at that point in time. Bringing people to 30% of my workforce at that time was fresh out of college. So out of around 450 people, around 150 people plus a fresh out of the college. And seeing their eyes and looking at their faces gave me the confidence that we'll come out of it. They're just starting off their career. We are just coming out of COVID. So that was very, very interesting. And that gave me the confidence on that we will be fine. Now, coming to your next part of your question, how do we take it forward? I think so. We need to keep diversifying our thought process on recruitment as we move forward. There are people there. We need to find this hotel employs around 11 specially abled people, and they do some fantastic job. Um, their productivity is to another level altogether that I don't find in many other people. We need to find more such people. Carrying on what Sandeep was saying earlier, that we need to go beyond the IHMs, and that is so true. Finding more women who want to work, giving more flexible hours to them, so that your job is also getting done. They are also making money, and we all are coexisting in an environment that everything is happening. And most important thing is continue to recruit young people. That whether we like it or not, they are the future of the hospitality, and the energy that they bring is to another level too. So it's been a very interesting 2 years. It's about opening this complex, about giving job opportunities, and moving forward, it's about finding new people to work, because if you just stick to IHMs and all, and the way the business is growing, I don't think so our colleges will be able to manage the requirement of manpower in the next 5 to 10 years.
Life has gone beyond IHMs. IHM has given us brilliant talent, but talent is now coming from private institutes, and brilliant private institutes within India, hospitality schools, as we would call them. And so far, so good. There is international supply, there is supply coming in from other industries. In fact, there is reverse brain drain, if I was to say so. But this is a great industry which has a lot of resilience, and this industry has gone past many low tides. So supply chain is going to be good, but the only thing is we need to present a good case for this industry. But the post-COVID bounce back has been a good case, and the rest is on to you. Like Sandeep said, good, strong word of mouth, right? So that be that. I shall now come into you, Varun. Varun, कितने 5.5-6 साल हो गए? 6 साल हो गए?
Yeah, I've been in the city for about 5.3 years.
All right. So there you are. So tell me, this industry is hot and happening, like we just did discuss. And the Indian hospitality industry has a few challenges. Talent pipeline, like we've said, is one of them, right? And slightly worrying, not very worrying for me, because I think once the industry is on high, people need jobs, they need to find their natural flair and come in. Tell me, not everyone across hospitality schools is coming to hotels, right? Some have headed to airlines, few to facilities management. What are your views, thinking, and advice?
So thank you for providing me this opportunity. When we discussed about the topic, what came to my mind was, let me do some analogies and some retrospection and some kind of groundwork to give it a perspective. Now, most of the hotel chains currently are working on employee retention strategies post the COVID period, because that's been a key problem for all of us. And individually, we are doing a lot of work together to bring in, a lot of talent to our existing hotels. What we really want is a push from an industry perspective. So the hotel industry should come together and firstly instill the confidence that was maybe lost during the pandemic years as an industry, of it being a good career option for youngsters and the student council body. And that can only be done if all the companies come together to first instill that confidence, go back to institutions wherever the talent may be, and start telling them about how different the working cultures are becoming, and how apt is it for the current generation to join hotels. When we talk about hotels and working in hotels, we have a very primitive approach to how hotels exist and how they function. But unexpectedly, over the last 3, 4 years, the new age hotels, the way hotels have opened, the entire service design has been changing. So there are a couple of things, and couple of my opinions are resonating with the fact that we firstly need to acknowledge what went wrong during the COVID, and we need to spread awareness as to how the work cultures of our current hotels are changing. We don't have to compete with each other as hotels first. We need to compete now with other industries that are also sampling into the pie of the same talent pipeline from maybe MBA colleges or hotel management schools. So I went and did some research work just to let you know that we've got a very, very impressive CAGR from a global hotel industry perspective, and that's being forecasted at a 8.9%. Okay, when we talk about retail, the CAGR forecasting is at 4.4. Airport operations is at 6.5, and then the industry start to take over our CAGR, which is real estate, cruise line market, which is almost at 11.5. We have the airline industry, which is planning to expand at a rate never seen before at 25.5%. And then we have software industry as well, which is going to be expanding at an 18.7 CAGR. So when we are talking about compound annual growth rates of over and above our industry standards, we need to understand where is this staff or the talent coming in from. And each of them is coming in from the hotel management colleges or the same kind of spots that we are getting our talent from. In India, if I have to break it down from an Indian perspective, we have a total of 1,005 registered colleges in India. And together with these hotel management colleges, there are over 2,000 colleges that are providing courses which are related to hotel management, tourism, or travel, or leisure. So even if I take 75 students per batch or per course, the overall output of moving out graduating students would not be more than 1.75 lakhs annually. This is good enough for the way we are expanding in India, but when we start talking about the kind of expansion plan other industries are also having, it becomes a challenge. And it becomes a challenge because they are more better in telling employees or their future talent how brilliant their work culture is. And I think that is where hotels have real solid opportunity to improve on. And for doing that, there are a couple of things that I thought we can do right. And the first one is we should be able to give their first impressions in the way that we are not currently doing. For example, their internships can be far more meaningful and far more better and more apt for Gen Z and millennials. And that is going to really bring them back to the hotel industry. Okay, I also have a couple of pointers for colleges because colleges currently are still in a primitive mode and they're still teaching syllabi which are not really applicable for the industry today. For example, there are a couple of college who are still inducting students and telling them how Fidelio works, which is a property or which was a property management system, which is no longer is existent. So I think syllabi, which is more relevant to the industry, can be a benchmark exposure for students. The theory that they learn in 3 or 4 years of their college can be put into practice when they come over. And then the culture of how hotels used to function and how they are functioning now can be the key points that we can put forward. As hotel companies, we all go out and look for management, aspirants for management programs. We also need to start planning career phases for people who are joining at entry levels to give them career options. And I think that kind of a drive coming in as an industry will really make us a more preferred for the existing talent and the kind of people that we are. We always say, "Hamare time mein to ye hua tha." We need to understand that the times have changed. Specifically after the pandemic, it has changed. So that was in a nutshell. If you see, just to end, the better part and the heartening results are, I got in touch with someone from IHM Bangalore. They've had over 250 students, and the better part is around 146 were the total placements for food retail outlets. HR related retail outlets were about, related jobs were 66, and the most was 195, which is still hotels. So hotels are definitely doing something right and heading in this right direction. I think with the opinions that I've put forward, if we do it right, we can really get the talent pipeline from hotel management schools back to hotels. That's about it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Varun. That's very important inputs. But remember, the onus is also on us as hoteliers. We need to be there where the hospitality schools are with them, showcase our industry in good light, right? And we need to put our best foot forward and bring those students to our hotels to give them a real life feel. I'm not just talking about internship. Bring them on and tell them where you are today, you're much better off than we were, and see where we are, right? So that'll be very nice. But thank you so much, Varun. Virender, if I may come to you, you spent years there in this industry and across locations and brands. मैं थोड़ा development पे आना चाहता हूँ. Tell me development. India needs more hotels, right? Across categories, across locations, right? Not even Mumbai, Bangalore, and all. Delhi needs a lot of hotels, right? So tell me, in the light of the reality that development is not very easy, long gestation cycles, deep investments, which take long to realize, to come back, whole lots of regulatory issues, clearances, and building assets, like I said, takes years. By when things may change, the catchment may change, there may be somebody else who will come in, and getting returns is even longer. Now dovetail that with the talent issue and all, what is your view?
Thank you very much for bringing me here.
Pleasure, sir.
Every owner who is investing in today's world wants to have a return on investment with a specified time frame. And what happens that a lot of companies which have history of developing hotels, they have brought in that design efficiency in their assets, which in long term or in the short term also bring in people efficiency. But as you know, that a lot of hotel companies now are using asset light strategy. Due to that, what's happening that owners are building the hotels as per their own design specs without keeping in view the long-term people utilization. So what's happening that hotels are being built, but are those manpower efficient designs? No. So time has come that all these individual operators, whereas hotel companies with proven record have developed this science and have data to support design changes, but these individual hotel owners have to still develop that such kind of talent which can understand what their business requirements are and accordingly build the design of the hotel. Let me give you a little bit of industry statistics. As you know, for 2 years during COVID time, I was in my own entrepreneur space and did a lot of work between the colleges and the industry. Aim was to nurture and develop the talent for this industry and bridge the gap between what the industry is expecting and what's being taught by the colleges. And it has been beautifully put by Varun in his statements. I had picked up some figures that industry turnover was $22 billion till 2019, and in both organized and unorganized sector. And the industry was supposed to grow at 8.6% till 2025. No doubt we had COVID that played a spoiler, but growth has been robust for the last year and a half. Till 2021, it was estimated that there are going to be 2 lakh branded hotel rooms. This number has gone up since that time, and I do not have the latest figures with me. But as we also know that both Taj, Marriott, and other hotel brands have already announced their expansion plans for next 3 to 4 years. Definitely with these kind of numbers, there is pressure on operator to deliver results. And these results can be delivered only by the trained manpower, and issue lies there. Whereas we have support of 1100 plus hotel colleges, both private and government, to deliver the skilled manpower, but it's not happening because hotels are also at different categories, whereas the guest expectations and requirements in a 3-star, 4-star hotels are different than at a 5-star or 5-star super deluxe. So that is where the pressure is coming to an operator, that no doubt there are people, but there are not people delivering at that price point. And there was an HBS study which was done in 21-22, where they found that 53% of the people do not want to come back to hotels. I had personally interacted with a lot of these hotel management graduates who are in 3rd year, because I was doing a program where we were training them for management training programs. Almost 80% of those students want to go to retail, want to go to airline, want to go to hospitals, or for that matter, asset management, but do not want to come to the core hoteliering. That's where the challenge lies. And what they also saw, HBS has seen that 53% do not want to come back to the industry, 24% want to pursue higher education, and that way we are left with only 23% who want to work in the hotels and make their career as core hoteliers. Now, industry and government have to work together, because there is going to be humongous need of manpower, in the skilled manpower in the coming years. We will have to enhance vocational training. The government can collaborate with hotel management institutions and vocational training centers to develop the specialized courses which will focus on hotel operations. It's happening at this point of time. There are quite a few vocational centers which are operational, but they are making more of those entrepreneurs who can make their own businesses than who can work in the specialized trade. And this vocational training will also take care of the individual with the necessary skills, but more at the budget hotel level, not at the mid-luxury or luxury segment. Second is also to promote skill development programs. I remember when I joined this industry, that point of time, we used to have that apprenticeship program that somehow we have lost.
My view is also this, Virender.
Yeah.
The lesser we depend upon the government,
yes,
the better we will be.
No, I'm just saying it has to be between the government and the industry itself.
Yeah, but then the industry has to learn to fly on its own.
Yes, exactly.
Come out of IHM, because the government, number one, has a lot on its plate, and number two, the industry needs to be completely on its own.
Industry has been on its own. That's why you will see during COVID.
And I must tell you, we have so much of resilience and ideas and thoughts that we can fly much higher and much faster. I shall, Virender, with your permission, I shall now come into Sachin. We're now past our halfway stage. Sachin, as an extension of my earlier question, right? So tell me, occupancy and ARRs are a done deal. I'll come to F&B.
Yeah.
how is F&B doing across options from fine dining to your 24/7 coffee shops and in-room dining? And what changes do you notice in the demand and consumption? Have you tweaked your menus and service accordingly?
So first of all, thank you, Bhuvanesh ji, for inviting me with this first panel. And F&B is my passion, and the question is also very appropriately put for me. So let me just, while everybody spoke about certain numbers, nobody picked on the F&B numbers, and I'm just going to put across some F&B numbers for you. So what we are looking at is at a $41.1 billion industry as of 2022, which is just the food and beverage space. And we are slated to grow by almost 11.19% CAGR, which would mean that by 2028, this industry is set to be a little shy of about $80 billion. So we are talking about almost doubling the whole industry in a space of about 5 to 6 years. So that would obviously mean that a lot of requirement of talented manpower or just manpower will be there, because F&B itself is very, very manpower heavy space. Now, what has happened in the past 3 to 4 years through COVID and all, and I'm sure, everybody has experienced it differently. And for me, what the experience has been that, there has been a little bit change in how the customer dynamics are. And we are seeing that we are able to retain more customers eating inside the hotel than stepping out. And even companies prefer it that way. So the capture ratio, which used to sit at about 20-25% earlier on, is now almost touching, near touching 40%. Now that could be purely because of packages that we float or very, very aggressive deals. But then the point is that still we're able to retain them inside the hotel. And my hotel sits inside a sort of a mixed-use building, which has a lot of QSR options as well. But still, we're able to do that, which means that there is an opportunity which has been, we've sort of got a positive spin to whatever has happened. A lot of constant events, a lot of constant activations. You see your social screens, and then you will see every hotel kind of always being active. And I think that's one thing which has become very, earlier there were structured approaches to things, but now we see a lot of activities that are happening all around. Apart from that, what's happened is the menus have sort of become a little more smaller. I think all of us would agree that we've all sort of shrunk our menus to make sure that with this churn of team and the churn of service staff, we're able to cater to that smaller menu. As a company in Accor and as part of the F&B Alchemist team across Middle East, Asia, Pacific, we've taken up a constant effort in sustainability to reduce food waste. And what we've done is that we've said that which is the biggest function that happens across all hotels, and that is breakfast, where we put out an elaborate buffet. So we made a list of total number of dishes that are there, and then we realized that we're at an average hotel putting more than 200 plus dishes out there, which includes all the chutneys and the sauces and everything put together. And then we made a conscious decision to reduce it to 146 dishes. And that flexibility is with us now to make those 146 dishes stick. And this is already piloted in Dubai, and the hotels have seen really, really positive results on how we can reduce food waste and shrink our buffet and not have as much to cook in the morning, because again we're looking at people making that dish. A lot of flexibility in hours. Again, from a digital standpoint, a lot of things have happened where scan codes, digital footprint have been improved. You don't need direct interaction for order taking. So the skill required to take an order, which was earlier very, very high, has been sort of made a little bit you offset or mitigate that issue by putting in digital scan codes where the menu itself is quite visual in nature, and you can actually put up videos and all how things are being prepared. So those things have helped F&B, not just in hotels, but in standalones or across the board, if you see. We've seen that, fine dining is starting to come back into play. And, this is during my recent visits across various cities. You see that, some of the great fine dining places are starting to edge in again, and probably this culture will again set back in. But while fine dining is setting in, we are seeing menu fluidity, which would mean that your not mono cuisine restaurants, your specialty restaurants are not mono cuisine, and they are sort of piggybacking on 2 or 3 cuisines to support that. Because one, you need specialists to create a mono cuisine, plus you need a lot of stickiness from a customer standpoint to drive that business. Little activations in driving local food, and millet has been the food of the year, and it has been, and I've recently understood from some people staying in the hotel who are getting treated by just consuming millet for cancer. So I mean, millets has taken a big space in the local food business, and not just millets, but people are going for GI tagged food, making sure that they are buying within a 50-60 mile radius, so that it's more a lesser carbon footprint on that. Revenue management is set to take up a bigger space across India. All Accor hotels have recently started this whole restaurant revenue management practice, so that again our reliance on human intervention is sort of reducing, and we are more relying on technology to get our information, and we can make our changes in business, how we move forward. Trainings are becoming more crisp. We are not now training people for across paradigm of food and beverage. Like Sandeep just mentioned that, we're not looking at IHMs for filling our manpower gaps. There's a lot of casual labor that is involved in filling our manpower gap. And what we do is we do a very, very crisp, small training. Sometimes it is just like a very, very specific function. So if a guy is working in banqueting, we just assign a certain task, and that is what we impart that training, and that will take him from a certain place to a certain place. Probably that is what is helping us move forward, and probably this will, and if we can cross-functionalize this over time, we will probably get a little more learned manpower. Accor has begun a program for women into F&B. That is one area where we see very, very few women across the board. And there is a women mentorship program, and I'm one of the mentors in one of the women mentorship programs. I hope and wish we can drive more women into this. Though we have 25% women in the hotel, 25 to 30% in.
That is low. That is low.
Yeah, but in a hotel which is 25-30%, women in F&B is barely 4 to 5%. So that's something which we have to look at. If you really want to achieve in the hotel a higher percentage of women, which are about 40 to 50%. Actually, Accor has a goal of 50% women in leadership roles. But if you want to really drive it, you'll have to look at it in food and beverage space particularly. So that's one area where we've started a mentorship program, and we've made those norms of hotels more flexible. And the tagline goes is "Come as you are." So Bhuvanesh, that would mean that we are not saying you want to not keep a ponytail, or you want to have braided hair or something like that. Please, that you should have. And colored hair is also acceptable. I mean, earlier there was a time that no tattoo would be allowed, but now you're allowing these things to happen.
Life has changed.
Life has changed. So those flexibilities are there. Yesterday, we were having this conversation at one of the colleges that I was giving a lecture on to the new joinees, and the lot of conversation is around event management. And when I asked them what is event management, what is event, their whole concept is that every day is exciting. And then when I explained to them how my life is exciting every day, how I get to meet from Shah Rukh Khan to Amir Khan on a different day, their thought about hotels changed. And this is what my effort is, go to colleges and try and explain to them.
Exactly. So we've got to tell them the good stories, yeah?
Good stories.
And the story is actually very good.
Yeah.
So let me now, I'll have to now, take a short commercial break. We're a little off time, so we've got to keep it shorter now. And so let's bring in the video, Salman. Thank you, Sachin. That was a good response in bringing F&B into the picture. Grateful. Sandeep, if I can come back, we're at halfway stage, and we'll now have to slightly manage the time better. Tell me if hospitality bounce back is so strong as we know and as we see. Uh, so is it with the airlines and the others? But on the flip side, unaffordable airfares can be that derailer which can throw some bit of our plans in doubt. You're on mute. You're on mute.
As I'm getting a similar sort of question. I mean, the way that I answered the first one is sort of similar. Again, something that holds true for a leisure destination doesn't hold true for a business destination. Um, Again, the way the airlines function is on the science of demand and supply. And what we are seeing, say for example, in Bangalore, we have another terminus which is opened up, which is going to open up a lot more to make travel convenience. That's for one. Also, I mean, airlines always traditionally has been the oxygen to the body of the hotels industry. More flights into the city for international travelers coming to the city. Anything which is related to the upbeat movement of the airlines has always had positive impact on the hotel industry. Uh, you speak about the flip side of the fares. I mean, right fare or wrong fare is something which is very relative. Um, from the international standards, they still okay and acceptable fares that they run on. But you have to also look at how the sector has been evolving. How many sectors have opened? How many new airports in the countries have opened? More connectivity will get in more people. I mean, also look at the number of aircrafts people have been ordering. So it is going to be. I mean, we talk. I mean, when Air India ordered 470 aircraft, we said, oh my goodness, 470, and then Indigo came up with 1330 number of aircrafts. Huge numbers. I mean, all these aircrafts are going to come in and they're going to fly within the country and outside.
But the window is long for delivery of those aircraft, right? And they'll be replacing existing fleet. Yes, that's a very good indicator, but there's a game there. So, in the sense you order those bulk aircraft, but then that'll be over 10 years, 15 years.
Still, I mean, when was this last done, Bhuvi? So, great positives in terms of,
Absolutely,
I am looking at
absolutely.
the scenario completely in positive manner, saying that I mean the development of aircrafts, airports is a positive sign. I mean, if you have time, then I correlate this with the manpower situation that it's going to.
Please,
Uh,
please.
yeah, because I mean, all this is also going to take away manpower. And again, except for one air hostess training institute, I do not hear of too many training institutes that these guys have. I mean, hotel industry still has IHMs and so many colleges, but what infrastructure do they have, or do the airline industry have to back the manpower, huge, humongous manpower requirement that they have? Again, they have the short-term thing of poaching from the hotel industry. The entire F&B sector, if you see, I bump into a known face every airport where I go and dine within the launch. So that's the status of them, which of course is a challenge. But I think, I mean, again, as I said,
And not just airline companies, facilities management companies, right?
exactly. But I am looking at a reverse brain drain. I mean, I look at all these as a
That's what.
and I mean, we should also look at people being trained at the airport and coming into the hotel industry. Why not? So we have to look at that. We have to open our eyes far wider to look at the source market when it comes to people. And why not airports and airlines?
Absolutely. Yeah, Sandeep, very relevant input. Uh, reverse, the reverse flow of people who've left are coming back, and they should bring in others also. And
Yeah.
so, all right, good. That's a good case for an industry. Manish, if I may come back to you. All right. So mice is extremely important, and of course, for your rather well-appointed hotel, we see it behind you, right? For those of you who've not been there, he's got the Hilton, and bang next, he's also got the
Hilton Garden Inn.
Hilton Garden Inn, and both extremely well-appointed and very well located, right on the outer ring road of Hebbal. You've got to see the Manyata Tech Park, brilliant place. Uh, so Mice bounce back was the last. the domestic travelers started coming in. I think the international travelers been the last, but it has come back strong. How do you see it play, and what more and what next? And what are your plans for this revenue stream, and what innovations and how are they faring, and their effect on people?
Okay. MICE was a very important segment for us a year back, and it still continues to be. How do I see it progressing in the future? With the growth of the Indian economy, with more manufacturing moving to India, with more airports, the international association congresses that would probably happen in Europe or US or Southeast Asia would probably want to move to India. Um, because the biggest market for them is sitting in India, or their biggest dealers are sitting in India. So I see this growing further and further from here on. My as a segment brings beyond hotels, it brings in so much more to the economy in terms of spend by the delegates in the city, for the city, in terms of shopping or in terms of local transportation, and it can be a key driving force for the growth of the city. So to answer your question, Bhuvi, I see this segment growing exponentially in the coming years. While we will be competing with the rest of the world, particularly Southeast Asia, but with the growth of infrastructure in India and airports and easy visa regulations, I see us having a very good chance to take this segment to another level. Couple of things that we have done for in terms of innovation when we opened this complex was we are twin branded complex, so we have a microsite, or what we call it, or a combined website, and that we designed particularly for the MICE delegate, so that he or she can understand the entire complex and then make a decision. For a MICE decision maker, it's very important to see what he or she is getting into from wherever they're sitting, to understand the complex better. So microsite is a key thing. And one thing that I'm finding with a lot of MICE RFPs that are coming to us is their focus on sustainability. So what is every hotel doing from a sustainability piece to neutral the carbon footprint of the delegates who have traveled? Is becoming a key point. So as we hoteliers move forward, we need to think more creatively. We need to find better ways to advise the delegates what they can do, and to reduce the carbon footprint. These will be the game changers for the future.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. MICE is a big one and pretty good. And it's a short business once it starts happening. Yeah. And
it drives the economy. So, it just drives the economy.
Oh, it drives
it's not
the
just the
economy.
hotel.
It's all about commerce, not just commerce for yourself. It's commerce with what they do. So it's all touchwood, very positive, and we need it if we have to go past 8%, right? So yeah. So Varun, talking about 8%, we've spoken about MICE, we've spoken about F&B, we've done it all. But what about the big fat Indian wedding? So weddings, thank God for the big fat Indian weddings. And hotels must, thank them with both hands folded, and the parenting values. मतलब वो कुछ भी कर ले, मेरे को डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग चाहिए अगर शादी करनी है, राइट? और अच्छी शादी करनी है. हम लोग तो सिंपल शादियां कर लिए थे, बट अब नहीं है, अब वो बदल गया. So you host a lot of weddings. How has it gone from no weddings and none to small and a few to now the big large tamashas with parties, nach gana, pina, pilana, khana, shana. But could destination weddings be that dampener, that delayer?
On the contrary, I think destination weddings open a lot of horizons for a lot of us, and specifically from a hotelier's point of view. Um, a good wedding month for any hotel, for any leisure mice hotel, can be equivalent to 3 months top line revenues for a city hotel. And from that perspective, I think, from a revenue top line, it also opens doors for new development sites, which really brings in a lot of progression from a hotel standpoint of view, from a job perspective, from a career orientation. In fact, there are development and feasibility teams of various hotel companies which have been given an agenda to find such destinations wherein new MICE leisure hotels can come in. And I think that is very important because it's a big, huge revenue model. Just to throw in one little number that I came across was 3.7 lakh crores. And I was awestruck with it because that's how big the wedding industry in India is. And 3.75 lakh crores, if you start putting the number of zeros, if even a 1% of that comes to a hotel, I don't think anyone or the big fat Indian wedding would be a dampener for any of the general managers present here. For specifically MICE hotels that Manish or Sandeep or even to that extent Sachin are really holding on, I think this is a big segment. Saya dates are determining how well the yielding opportunity for a city may be. So revenue managers are not sitting only on citywide event dates. They are monitoring Saya dates as closely as probably a religious person who's writing these. And they are much more aware now from a Saya date perspective or for the various religious calendars. And that is the kind of importance that we are giving.
But not
Now,
all of them are going by Saya these days, right?
yeah, not all of them, but they're definitely key precursors of the occupancy forecasting that a city may be seeing. For example, any big event that is being held at Manish's hotel or further down at a big leisure MICE hotel would definitely have a kind of an effect of the city CBD area occupancies also getting inflated. And I think that gives us an opportunity to yield better. So, in a nutshell, from a people perspective, how we were equipped to handle the big fat weddings 10, 15, 20 years back is no longer the case because there are a lot of specialized vendors who have come and partnered up with hotels as great aggregators. For example, one vendor comes with 250 recipes of desserts. So your dessert is taken care of. Similarly, there are a lot of aggregating,
We'll come back. This happens. कोई नहीं, even Hercules dropped it. आ जाएगा Varun. So another few seconds and then we'll move to you, Virender.
Sure.
I think how we are going to be taking care of that, or how well the manning cycles can be. I think it's given us a great exposure, and it will only, be relevant to say that the wedding seasons in India will always become bigger and better because it is also becoming more structured and organized. And the more it becomes structured and organized, the better would be the yielding results. So for a hotelier, it'll never die and it'll never be a dampener because weddings will definitely drive our top line scenarios in a very positive way.
And direct and indirect employment.
Yes.
Right. So there's so many people who depend on them. Right. Great. Thanks, Varun. That was good input. Virender, now let me come to you. You're the one who's got a rather well-appointed spa, gym, facilities, right? From a state of full stop and no go to now busy where people have to seek appointments and get in there, right? Uh, how have you planned for this segment? How is it growing? This is the one segment, in my view, which has neither seasonality, nor age, nor gender barriers. They all want it. And how are you able to keep up with the demand? One. Two, uh, getting talent to run a spa, manage a spa is not very easy. You know, they come from all over the country, but they're specialists.
Absolutely. First of all, are we able to keep up with the demand in a business hotel? Yes, because for the last few years, not few years, rather 2 decades, the spa culture got incorporated in this country early 2000, when few chains focused on spas only. And most of the hotels, I remember when I was at ITC Calcutta at Sonar, we used to always promote that hotel as a businessman's resort. Has this sentence got significance now 20 years down the line? Yes, especially for our long stay guests who are staying with us. So for weekends, they definitely like to have a good spa in a hotel, and we have been able to match that. I would say that demand. That is one. Second, you have to also see like how F&B, your restaurants position you in the domestic market. So has now spas, because a lot of your known guests who are well-wishers of the hotel and have been patronizing your brand, they want to utilize your these facilities during weekends. And what we have also seen that spa and wellness center at this point of time may be on overall revenue of the hotel, it may be just an olive on top of the salad, but it adds a lot of value to the hotel facilities. And surprisingly, it is at this point of time also contributing, I won't say a handsome economic remuneration to the hotel, but yes, it is a profit making facility, because these days the visitors, tourists, and professionals who stay in the hotel are becoming more and more demanding, and the way the modern public within the hotel industry, they are looking for that comfort and wellness, not only from the physical wellness point of view, but also mental point. And it also is a decisive factor when a lot of your guests are choosing your hotel for weekends and public holidays. I do round about, I would say, 12 to 15% of my occupancy during weekends and public holidays are staycations. So that is only because of our these good facilities. Should all hotels go for it? If you ask me, yes, because wellness is a growing market, so better be part of it. At this point of time, I don't think in this country we have utilized the full potential of this segment. And in a hotel, the real estate is a little bit on the subsidized price, and people can take out, I mean, say the hotels can take out three to
But
four
also
thousand
the
to
good
5,000
news
square
is
feet.
not just residents,
Sorry,
walk-ins, you know. So for facilities like spa, gym and all, it's
right.
not just residents, you know, guests. It's also the people from the catchment who.
Exactly, because you also have the membership for spa and gym. And in addition to that, every hotel has its loyalty program, every company has its loyalty program, and a lot of guests are given access against the payment in the hotel who are members of those loyalty programs.
So excellent. So this is a an extremely important revenue stream. But tell me more about the talent. How do you get people?
No, I was
Because
coming
all
to that
work,
also,
yeah.
because a good wellness center, so many times as we are talking about MICE, sometimes there we get some boutique small conferences who are also want to be part of the spa. They want to have those kind of sessions in the hotel, which will really create a mental well-being of their, I would say, managers, staff, or top-notch guests who are staying with us. And now coming on the talent, I must say we are very lucky in this country that we have this northeast belt in our country. And a lot of our manpower, a lot of our talent for the spa gets sourced from that area because they are very good in this space of hospitality, because they bring in a lot of Eastern hospitality with Western efficiency to the board. So that way, a lot of our international guests, when they use our spas, for them feeling is very international because they have been exposed more in the Southeast Asia, like Thailand and all these Malaysia,
वो
Indonesia,
अलग ही
Singapore.
स्पा हो गया थाईलैंड वाला थोड़ा ज्यादा
No, no, no. I'm not. I'm talking about from the wellness point of view.
वेलनेस
So I'm
ये है
just
कि
saying.
थोड़ा
So
ज्यादा वेल हो जाता है
the talent at this point of time, yes, it is a challenge to retain that talent, and like how we are taking different measures to retain our other hotel colleagues, the same kind of application is done for this. But yes, talent is available. It's just that how do we nurture and train them so that they can offer best to our guests who are staying with us. And it's a great, I would say, great vertical to focus on. And every hotel which has a space and can dedicate anything towards the wellness in a scientific manner, which adds a lot of value and gives you a good profitability of 50 to 55%.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Oh, thanks, Virender. That's extremely useful. I've stayed at the Leela Bhartiya city, so very well appointed hotel, extremely good facilities. Yeah.
Thank
All right.
you.
I shall now move in with the last question, last but not the least. Like I always say, Sachin, मैं आपके पास आ रहा हूँ वापस.
Yes.
So tell me about hotels away from downtown. Is the action evenly spread, or is it across, say, in one large or say massive and busy city like Bangalore? Bangalore is actually a few cities like Delhi and Mumbai are put together, you know. So the south is one, north is one, east is one, west is one. वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा because Bangalore में traveling can be a pain. Let the spoil be for all. Your views and how have you planned to go about it?
So just to cue on what earlier was said about hiring of people, I recently hired almost 7-8 people in the system, non-hotel or hired from airport. So
oh really?
Yeah, so I've taken.
कहाँ से लिए आपने?
मैंने बियाल से हायर किया है.
हरियाणा गालियां दे रहे होंगे आपको.
ओ हमने भी बहुत दिए.
अच्छा हाँ बोलिए.
So there is a reverse hiring happening, and because I think everybody hits a threshold at some point, and then you will see will come back into the fold soon. So that's a positive sign. Now talking about traffic. Traffic is the reason why Bangalore is divided into micro market, not because of east, west, north, and south. And certain bottleneck streets are the ones which create a separate micro market. So, for example, beyond my hotel going towards outer ring road becomes one micro market just because there is a KR-Puram bottleneck which is sitting, and that, you know, I can count up to 7-8 micro markets. Probably anybody, Sandeep, could count up to 10. So Bangalore has innumerable micro markets depending on where you're located. Now, let me give you a perspective on why traffic makes it into micro market. On a global index, we are ranked, we means Bangalore is ranked at number 2, just after London on a traffic index, which means that on an average, a person is spending 266 hours on the road in the traffic, which would also mean that you're driving not more than 18 kilometers per hour. So any fancy car will actually meaningless unless you're driving on Sundays. So that brings me to a perspective of how things will decongest over time. I think the metro network, which is being laid about 2026, we're looking at about 175 kilometers of metro rail, which is going to come into play partially over the period of time. So room business, very, very limited movement you will see across spaces. People don't want to navigate through the city traffic. So the business is limited within that 5 to 7 kilometer radius where your hotel is located. So your catchment is that much. But from an F&B point of view, I would like to just say that people don't want to travel out to a longer or a far distance restaurant. They will only travel for 3 reasons. And that, as per me, one is it should be a legacy restaurant. Either you're traveling to an MTR, CTR, or some legacy Vidyarthi Bhavan restaurant to enjoy some favorite idli of yours. Or if the restaurant is new, so you want to experience the novelty of that restaurant, or the meal is free. Only then you will travel to those places. Otherwise, you will probably be in that zone of eating. So how we design F&B is we try and keep the F&B very, very simple. So while we have certain unique elements into F&B, the menu by and large remains very, very commercial. There's a lot of emphasis on comfort food that we provide so that people who are there staying with us over a long period of time or traveling regularly can get their comfort food. And Bangalore is a very cosmopolitan city in nature from a global standpoint as well. So your menus has to have a certain spread of dishes that is required. So your menu cannot isolate itself very, very minor approach. So, and how do you mitigate your weekends? Because weekend is generally a little slow on occupancy for hotels which are located on the periphery or more towards the IT park areas, is by doing activities and events. And, like I hosted the Bangalore Poetry Festival, which drove in a lot of people into the hotel. So that's your mitigating policy, and every hotel is doing something on those lines to ensure that your weekends are getting covered better. On a talent side, I just would like to say that, I don't want to sound really biased. There are two sets of people that get hired. One is local who live and belong here, and the other set is coming from other parts of the country, primarily Northeast and East. And for people coming from outside the city, we are providing accommodation for 15 days and extendable. And then we help them get a house in a PG or whatever category they would like to go for.
That's an advertisement and it's chargeable.
Yes. And then for hiring, what we do for locals is that we try and hire people from very, very small radius. So we try and see that you're not coming across the city, so that, because we've seen in the past that we've hired some people from a little far off, and there has been a very high amount of attrition of the guys fatigued out very soon. So that's what we've done as a strategy, and we've seen some results, but not to our expectation, but hopefully that should lead us to a better retention levels. So that's from my end on this piece.
So very useful. And also with this, so my takeaway from this thing is F&B is at the center of your heart, right? You come to F&B. But yes. Having said that, this show's been extremely interesting. You see, Bangalore is it's a very interesting market. It gives you a lot of opportunities, right? Huge opportunities, right? But it has its challenges. And talent, like you just mentioned, is one of them. If you hire from too far, your attrition levels are going to be higher. So you've got to keep them around your hotel within 3 to 4 kilometers, and 3 to 4 kilometers is actually more than half an hour of travel, depending upon where you are.
Yes.
So the talent is difficult. Bangalore gives you a lot of opportunities if you are an outsider from the north, northeast, east, wherever you are from. I come very frequently to Bangalore, and you see the contribution of people who are coming from across the country. Having said that, hospitality is a great magnet for people, and to pick experience, it doesn't get better than Bangalore. The weather is conducive, the industry is hot and happening, and yes, a lot of opportunities. But thank you, gentlemen. It's been a great show. Sandeep has been with me on a show before, but my first time with Virender, Varun, Sachin and Manish, not the last time. This is just a beginning. We're coming back with more. Our next show, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the east, right? We've had 2 rounds in the north, 2 in the west, 2 in the south. Now we're going to the east with 2 shows. Then we'll move off to the northeast, central, do northwest, southeast again. We had planned to do 20 shows, but looks like we'll be doing a lot more. So watch out for us, support us, watch the shows, watch the recordings, and support all these general managers. Look, these guys are all bright stars. You know, see where they started from, where they are. If you want to be like them, you want to sit where they are in a few years from now, hospitality is the industry you should be in. These are bright guys. See how articulate they are. How well do they present their case? Imagine, now, like I always keep saying, a hotel can have between 100 to 1,000 employees. Where would you get the opportunity for running such large empires, right? You have so many streams within them, progress, and if you have any queries, you have any career doubts, reach out to these gurus, Manish Garg, uh, Virender, Varun, Satish, and Sandeep. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for gracing our show. Thank you, Team BW, Ajit, Saurabh, Nilesh, Amit, Tanvi, my colleague, Salman, Prashant, Kartike, last but not the least, Shweta. Thank you all for making the GM series hot and happening. And yes, last but not the least, gentlemen, block 20th and 21st of May for the BW Hotelier Indian Hospitality Summit and Awards. It will be held at Accors Pullman at the Aero City in New Delhi. The nominations are opening within the next few days. Watch out, nominate yourself. And thank you again. Thank you again, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, that's the BW Hotelier Indian Hospitality Summit and Awards nomination slides. On to Diversey. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye, Manish. Bye, Virender, Varun, Sachin,
Thank you.
and Sandeep. God bless you.